if they were real in real life, but they looked beautiful. And I brought that up again because of how the elephants were treated, how they move as a herd, and how they were explained that they move as a herd and they're loving and that they mourn. Elephants mourn and they grieve with each other, for each other when they lose one of their young or things like that. And it's a beautiful thing. So I got to grow up being introduced to so many different cultures outside of mine, growing up in New York City that's already diverse. And then being on Disney, that was also diverse. And it was just like, having Sesame Street and having so many cartoons like Little Bear and Oswald. It was just, and then God made me the way that he did. There was just no way I wasn't going to grow up to be an amazing person, So, which wasn't my main point in saying that. That wasn't my main point. It was just that I loved having articles of clothing from other cultures, especially cultures that I have some sort of reference of. And then I had royal paintings where I had Divya, and I got to see more of a personal connection, and I've seen the Never Have I Ever, Debbie's show on Netflix. Oh, that show was too funny. I really related to it in a real way. I really understood where Debbie was coming from in the relationship that she had with her mom. Yeah, I related to that fully. So it was hard at times because I understood, everyone's like, Debbie has anger issues. I'm like, no, she doesn't have anger issues. She's angry. And she's a lot to be angry about. Like, she's mourning a parent. I've lost a parent. I know what that grief feels like. And respectfully, after I lost my parent, there was 3 months of me just being stuck. Like not being able to feel it or acknowledge it or really even understood what happened. Right. And I was 18. I was about 18 years old and I was stuck for 3 months. And then when I finally got unstuck, I was angry for 3 years. I was in a stage of grief of anger for 3 years. I mean, livid rage, just incredibly angry for 3 years, 3 years straight. And so I fully understood. And it's a tough thing because the same parent that I lost was my go-to parent. She was everything. She was my cheerleader and she loved me. She loved me so much and she saw greatness in me when I didn't see it in myself because I was looking for my other parent to acknowledge my greatness. And until they would acknowledge it, I couldn't acknowledge it. So even though she would speak life into me, I just didn't accept it because it's not who I wanted to hear it from, I wanted it confirmed by someone else. And she would speak life into me and she would protect me and she was a safe place. She was a safe place and a place of war. And I miss her every day. There's days where that button is pushed. I say that button because someone illustrated what grief is like, that when you first experience grief, the loss of a loved one, it's like one big ball in your heart, and grief is a button. It's a button. It's a button that sits at the bottom of your heart. And this ball is so big that it's always pressing that button. But over time, the ball shrinks. It shrinks over time. But there are some times that when the ball eventually gets so small that it just bounces around your heart, sometimes it bounces and it hits that button. And I feel like that was the best illustration because in that same vein, there are just days where it's a normal day until it's not. Out of nowhere, you're just grieving. And it's not something as simple as you smell their perfume or you saw a teddy bear. Sometimes it's just anything. Just random moments, Just random moments. I thought it would be certain things, but it was things like, I thought it would be like, oh, when I watch a show that we watched together, like we watched Psych. Like she introduced me to shows like Psych and The Twilight Zone and Monk. Oh, I love Monk. I love Tony Shalhoub. He's an amazing actor, one of the greatest actors of all time. He is absolutely amazing. I love his portrayals and everything. I love that man down, okay? Love him. Adrian Monk, still one of my favorite shows. I watched it from start to end in my adult life, and I finished it, and it was so great. It was absolutely amazing. And I watched Mrs. Maisel for Tony. There's no question about it. So... And I love all the stars that we got later in the show. I come up in the show, love that. And I love Susie as well. Susie is the epitome of a New Yorker. I love that girl down. And Mrs. Maisel too, as oblivious and naive as she is, she has that general sense of, well, you know, who cares if you're queer or African American? Like, you're just a person. That's the thought mentality of someone that's from New York City. Like, oh, okay, that's another fact that I have about you. That's all that is. That's more information about you. That's not a defining characteristic. It's not your personality. It's just one of the things about you. You know, as well as, oh, you're also caring and loving and you're charismatic and you're also scared of the dark. Like, it's just something else that I know about you. That's it. So, Mrs. Maisel too is actually very much a New Yorker. And so, you would think it was shows like that, you know, watching a show that you guys watched together, that they introduced you to, shows that they loved, you know, that would trigger it, but it's not. It's not. It's when I put on a show that I watched as a little girl. Like, yes, I was with her when I watched it. When I watched this show as a little girl, when I'm watching it, when I put on one episode as an adult, my body felt the nostalgic of safety. I felt the safety that I felt, and then feeling that safety, my body, I guess you could say, regressed. That's what makes it like a trauma response, that you go back to that moment emotionally, you know, like you can't recall it without living it. So I went right back into that moment. I felt me sitting on her bed, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, watching this show, and I could feel her next to me, and I could feel the safety and the love that I felt in that space. And that's when the grief hit. That's when the grief hit. I felt the safety, and I felt me relax, and I felt the calm of her there, and the grief hit. It's moments like that you just don't expect, you know? It's just some days when something feels hard, and it's really hard, and you're feeling the hardness of it, and you're feeling the sadness of it, and then you're just like, you know what, I just want to hug, and then you think about you want to hug from them, and the grief just hits you. It's moments like that just come out of nowhere, you know, you don't plan for it, you know? Just 4 weeks ago, I was just grieving hard for like 2 weeks. I didn't understand why. I was so sad, and I missed her so much, and I miss her so, and the grief feels the same way. It doesn't matter how long it's been. Every time it hits the same way. It's you on the floor or on the bed or somewhere crying your eyes out, sobbing so hard as if you just got the news. And it's just, it's the same rhetoric over and over again. It's, I miss them, I love them. I didn't get to tell them that I love them, because some people, a loved one gets sick, you know? So you have kind of like some time to mentally prepare because you know what's coming. But when it comes out of nowhere, you didn't expect it. We didn't expect it. It came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. We were just planning a visit to go see her, you know, because we had moved, and it had been some years since we moved. So it had been some years since I saw her in person. And we were planning to go visit her in 3 months. We were like, in 3 months from now, we'll be visiting her. And we had just prepared that. We had just planned that. And then 3 days later, 7 days later, she passed away. And like, it was hard for me to wrap my brain around it, because my everyday reality hadn't switched, because I hadn't been seeing her. So I went from not seeing her to not seeing her. So it took time for my brain to put that into place, you know. And then once it did, it was incredibly upsetting. It was incredibly upsetting, you know. And as you go through life, it's accepting that you will always grieve. Grief will always be there, because when I get married, when I meet my husband, she won't get to meet them. She won't get to meet them, you know? And who I am today, she didn't get to see. And that hurt the most when I lost her, because that was something that we talked about when I was a child. That was something that she told me. She would tell me all the time that she wanted to see me grow up before she died. She wanted to see me become a young adult. She wanted to see me become an adult before she died. And she died when I was 18. I was still a child. I was in my late teens. I wasn't an adult till I was 24. Like, no question. But yeah, I didn't mean to go that way. But, you know, it comes up when it comes up. But this is her 5th outfit. I love it. This is one of my favorite necklaces, too. I wish the reds matched a bit more. I swear, Sims and their color palette, they'll be off by a shade or two, either too bright or too dark. I swear, it's as if there's nobody there just making outfits and making sure everything is cohesive in some capacity. That's what they need. They need to hire me, and I'll do their outfits. I'll make sure things are cohesive, because something has to match. There are multiple items in The Sims that don't color coordinate to any other item. Each item needs to color coordinate to at least one or two other items, because what was the plan, Phil? What was the plan, Phil? Like, who did you make this for? It's kind of like going shopping and you buy all tops and then you go home and realize you have no bottoms to match any of these tops. That is how they do things. I think that's a bit backwards. Sims, Maxes, there's a more efficient way to do that, I promise. This is her workout outfit. It's very cute. This is the top I was telling you guys about. This is the top that came in the game pack. That's very New York City. Like, hello. Talk to me. These shorts came in the Royalty and Legacy pack. Love it. These sneakers, I think were a base game update. No, they're from Business and Hobbies. I love them. I love them. They remind me of my Air Nikes. My Air Nikes that have my A1s. They're like 4-1s or A1s. My A1s. I think they're A1s. My A1 Nikes. They got the how do you say that the Velcro strap that goes across the top. That's what these remind me of, and I love that. And it's like, see, always coordinated. We know how to dress, honey. This is her first sleep outfit. I did this for her wedding night. Love the gold. Hello. And I love this hairstyle, actually. I love this hairstyle. I do. This hairstyle that came with the Royalty and Legacy expansion pack. Love this hairstyle. We love the pearls. Okay, we love the pearls. The pearl necklace, the pearl earrings, everything. Love it. Look at the little ruffle that comes out, and the cute little bow that's on her hip. Look, see the little bow? So cute. Love that. And it matches the gloves. And I just live. This is so cute. And this is like her regular in-the-house comfy outfit. She has matching socks. Because sometimes you just wear socks. Sometimes most times than not, I like to be barefoot. I like to let my tootsies breathe. That's what I call my toes. I like to let my tootsies breathe, you know? But sometimes you're just like, I want some cozy socks. Some good comfy socks. And I love this head wrap. I do. I do wear a scarf in real life to protect my curls, but I prefer a satin pillowcase. Because sometimes I just don't care for the sensory of a scarf or a bonnet. To be honest. And this is her third sleepy look. Very cute, right? I wanted something that was cute and sexy at the same time, so we went pink. Pink was my favorite color from age 2 to like age 9. And that sounds small, but if you were to ask my relatives, that means everything I wore was pink. My shirt was pink, my pants were pink, my shoes were pink, the accessories were pink, my room was pink. When I say favorite color, I mean everything I bought. Everything I got. If there was a pink variation, pink is what I had it in, okay? I loved pink. Everything was pink. If I could be pink, I would be pink. And then like at 9 years old, I wore like these brown leggings and I was like, my skin looks really good in brown. And then brown became my favorite color, but specifically brown with teal. Brown and teal is a great color coordination. They complement each other so well. Then in my teenage years, it was light steel and teal. Light steel is a gray color. So it's like this really pale, pretty gray. And it was like this blue. I forget the blue. I believe it was teal or like this baby blue kind of a color because that really looked good together. And then now all of a sudden, at my age, I find myself recent development, like within the last month, looking at pink again, you know? I hadn't looked at pink in years. And I was like, I wonder if it'll ever come a time where I kind of welcome pink back into my life. I never like threw her out, but I mean, I did spend a straight 9 years of nothing but pink. So I had a lot of other color catching up to do. So I thought this was cute. I think this is really cute. See, I did it the hair because I love this hairstyle, truly. And it's so beautifully illustrated as well. Honestly, it looks so pretty. I love it. All the little hairs that are falling forward. I love that. This is her first party outfit. I love this gown. I love the cutouts. I love the fact that you can see her abs, you could see her stomach, and you could see her hips, but not too much. You know what I mean? I love that. I love the fact that it's flesh toned at the edge, at the hem. I love that. I do. And look at the back. I love that. I think that's so pretty. It feels so sultry and classic in a way. It just feels, I like it. And she has a French tip, because you can never go wrong with a French tip. Hello. I thought this was a perfect hairstyle. And I love the clip that's in it. That's something that you give at the wedding for like the, something borrowed, something blue. And it's like this comb. It's a comb and you like push it down into the bun. Super pretty. And see, my favorite necklace. It works. It's